You're still watching the Friday edition of Newdawn. Today, the 30th day of the month of December, year 2022. Definitely, this should be the last edition. This is the last edition. Can't argue that of the year 2022. Friday, it's Tunde Olaniro and Akim Akisuni. We are on to the discussion segment, and we are looking at something that is always peculiar to people at this time of the year. It's not uncommon to see people saying they have plans for next year, they have New Year resolution, they do this, they do that, and a whole lot of people are planning on what to actually look forward to, what to make of their lives, so to say, as far as 2023 is concerned. But we also know that the end of the year has a whole lot of religious coloration, especially from the Christendom. And that is why we are somehow tilting towards religion, and of course we'd also do a kind of expansion later. Now, we have this lot of plans for 2023, but definitely there are clutters to clear, and so we are looking at clearing the clutters ahead of 2023. The strategies, we have two wonderful gentlemen in the house, in the studio, to actually look at this topic with us. First, my far left, very close to Tunde Olaniro, is the senior pastor of King's Word here in Abeokuta, Pastor Adedayo Adefolahon. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir.
All right. We also have in-house the President and Head Baptist Church, Ogun State Chairman, Christian Council of Nigeria, Ogun State Chapter. Is the President and Head of Baptist Church, Ogun State Chairman, and of course Christian Council of Nigeria, Ogun State Chapter, Reverend Oyewale Oyeneyi. You're also welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Compliment of the season to you all.
Same to you.
All right, it's still some days to New Year. We'll continue to pray that we'll witness the New Year and we'll witness more years.
Amen.
Yes, I could decide to be a pastor, especially on my show like this,
Yes.
when you look at the mood of the season. So will somebody say amen?
Amen.
Today?
Most welcome. All right, let me start with Pastor Adefolahon. We have so many things that happened this year, 2022. Everybody had challenges, good ones, bad ones, so to speak, and the ones that we are trusting God to get better. What do you, as an individual, talking to a viewer watching us right now, what are the things that you say, okay, for next year, I think you should get rid of this and this and imbibe this and that?
Yeah, 2022 was an amazing year, challenging for almost everyone, nation, individuals, companies, organizations. Well, thank God we're still alive. The first thing I will say personally is count your losses and count your gain, then re-strategize for the year coming. There are things that happen that there's nothing you can do about. Okay, I just leave them and just say, okay, how do I go ahead for the year coming? And just sit down and plan. That's what I would say someone should do. But instead of regretting for things that ought to have happened that did not happen, the good thing is the way God created this thing. He created us to have 24 hours in a day, and for us to have a fresh start each day, or to have a fresh start each month, to have a fresh start each year. So if it didn't go the way you planned, there's a fresh start coming again. Just gather yourself together and forge ahead.
All right, so let me come to you. One of the things that happens in this time of the year is one, agitation. People are, worried that is this how this year will end? Is this how I will enter into the new year? So many rat race, let me use that word. You want to, beat some traps, achieve some things that you did not achieve almost all through the year. Now, should we be worrying as we go into the new year? Should worry be agitation, anxiety, be part of our baggage as we enter the new year?
Well, let me say that the use of New Year thing is not made. Just we have 24 hours every day, and we should not program ourselves to fit into a particular, say, the particular year. If things are not done in the year 2022 December, that's January 2023. And we should not, because the year is ending, and then begin to think that everything is ending for us. To me, it's an opportunity to go into a new year with high hope and high aspiration. And so, to say that, to limit ourselves to a particular year and say, oh, this year is going to an end and I've not achieved this and that, I think it's just, to me, sorry to say, it's more mentality, I would say. But there is always hope another month. There will be February again, there will be March again, and whatever you have not been able to achieve in a particular year, just go into in a new year with that hope and aspiration that by the grace of God, things will get better come the next month. I see January as next month, and I see December as another month. That's the way, that's the kind of thinking I think we should be having. And so, like I said, whatever we are unable to achieve in a particular year, there is hope that we'll achieve them in the forthcoming year.
Pastor Dayo, clusters, are they man-made or just natural for you to have? And when you look at the objectives of basic human beings all through the year, and of course, maybe most of them were not realized, and you look at the problems faced by the human race not to realize. Is it, I mean, from the clergy point of view, is it just natural? Or some of these things are man-made that should be solved by man? Or is it everything that we have to turn to God? If we turn to God, what do we do to walk the talk, to make the prayer being answered?
Yeah, you see, the way human beings are created, we are created to interrelate. So there is this feeling of, why is my life like this? When I see my neighbor progressing, and we started together, probably school together and all that, you see different kind of things happening in somebody's life. There's that tendency for you to feel like, what am I doing with my life? There's that tendency. So it's both man-made and is actually also natural, because God created us also to have aspiration. He created us to have, to want to be better in life and all that. So, but when things does not happen the way you plan, there are things we plan and it just didn't go that way. Not that you didn't make effort. You made effort, you put all things in place, but it didn't just go your way. But I've come to realize that it is better for you not to bother your effort things you can't control. Now, but there are other things you can control. You can control your own energy. You can control your mood. You can control the way you feel. So most importantly, it is the way we feel, not actually what is happening. So if you can lay emphasis on, okay, I said I want to do this business this year, and the plan didn't go my way. Okay, there's another year, I can do it. And just feel right about it. Not looking over the fence to see your neighbor's lawn being green, and now condemning yourself.
Reverend Eni, what is the challenge before you, clergy, men of God, men that go to the altar regularly, especially looking at we of this generation, so to say, or the young ones, and looking at well, in trying to accept what destiny has in place for them, what they see regularly on the internet becomes a challenge. You see those who cannot actually lay claim to this is how they make their money, displaying affluence. You see people, you know their kind of job. I mean, if you want to look at what they can make in 10 years, saying God has done it, buying mansions, buying big cars. You see people displaying wealth, philanthropism on the social, giving 100,000, 200,000. those doing it, what is their job, you don't know. All these things the young ones come across, and they want to actually tailor their life towards it and also make it like what we see, spraying of naira notes, spraying of dollars at times, and you begin, these are young people, and this makes it more challenging for people of their age to also want to be like them. And of course, most of them, their parents, everybody, they also come to church. So what is the, I mean, what kind of challenge do you feel? What message do you reel out when you see people in this society, facing the challenge of this society, and of course, looking at next year to, okay, if this guy can do it in 2022, I must also do it in 2023.
I think our people must understand that there is a divine timing. That what somebody achieved within a very short period of time, some may not be able to achieve them at that particular point in time. I used to say that the most important thing is to arrive. You can arrive 10 a.m., another person can arrive 2 a.m., I mean like 12 noon. It all depends on when God has assigned for you to arrive.
And the mode of your arrival.
Exactly.
Because the mode of arrival of these people.
That's one. The other aspect of it is that, you know, it is time for us, especially as men of God, to begin to talk to our people about the kingdom of God. About the fact that, yes, we are not saying that we should be utterly useless, but at the same time, our focus should be heaven. You know, and of course, you can begin to look at how some people, like we talk about process, how some people got about their money and what they think they have. You will discover that some Christians, a true child of God, will not want to do that, because the process of getting resources and wealth must be clean, must be godly, and must be biblical. So the situation where some people are young and they are throwing money, and you cannot throw it. You don't even know what they are passing through. You don't even know in their closet what actually has happened to them to be able to get whatever they get. And sometimes, if you know the secret of some people's wealth, you will pray you will never have that kind of wealth in your life because of what they are passing through. I think we should just make sure that whatever God has given to us, we should thank God for it. We should receive it with thanksgiving, and then believing God that in the future things will get better. So essentially, our people that's the kind of thing we should be talking to our people. That let us hold on to God. God is faithful. He will do our own too, when the time comes. And if he doesn't do it the way other people has been, quote unquote, blessed, then we are also blessed. Because blessedness actually is not about how much money you have. When Jesus told Peter, when Jesus asked his disciples about the perception of people about him, and then they gave different kind of answers. And he asked them, you, my disciples, have been following me. Whom do you think I am? And Peter answered, he said, you are Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. And the next question was, and the statement of Jesus was, Peter, blessed are you. He didn't get married, he didn't have many houses, he didn't have many cars, and he was blessed. Blessedness is not about resources you have. You are a blessed man when you have the knowledge of God, when you have a wonderful relationship with God. That means to satisfy us with that material possession.
Today, before you come in, Pastor Dayo, people will say, those that I mentioned earlier on, why asking Reverend Oyini that question, are not likely to be in his own kind of church. But in your own kind of but in your own kind of church, they are likely to be visible, and people will begin to say, wow, he has made it, okay, blah, blah, blah. Now, you might be able to know them. Some of them will also, we have some that go to church, go to religious houses. Are you getting my drift?
I do.
Good. How do you understand it?
Yeah. First and foremost, I used to tell my children, I said, your generation, the most negative thing about this generation is the distraction of social media. Why? Because in our own generation, when we were growing up, before you could even know something has happened to somebody else, it's going to take a while. You're going to, that's happened like a year or two before you can even get to know. Somebody is doing this, somebody is doing that. But right now, as it's happening, you'll be seeing it in your room as it's happening. Why? So I said that's the major distraction for your generation. And So with that, you can easily see what's going on in somebody else's life and overlooking your own life. And that's the beginning of frustration. The beginning of frustration is overlooking what you have, then looking over to what your neighbor has. That's the beginning of frustration. Like Reverend has said, when you know that, first and foremost, there are processes to things. A child that is born today cannot grow up immediately. There are processes. So once you allow them to understand there are processes you need to go through. So even when you see someone that jump up, he's going to come down. He's going to come down. Compared to someone that took a ladder and climbed. Though you went up, but you can't sustain it, you are going to come down. But the one that climbed the process, that climbed the ladder, is going to stay up. So those are the things you begin to tell them. Listen, you may have this thing in an ungodly way right now. Bible says, wealth gotten by vanity shall diminish. It will develop wings and just fly away. And I've seen couples of people like that. Today they are this, they could do this. 5 years down the line, you can say, where are you? What's happening to you? So, and I think when we begin to give this example, people will begin to think, okay, I don't need to trade my future for my present. So that's because I have people around me. I have people I mentor, and I tell them this. It might look like you are slow. It might look like it's taking time. It's better. Go through the process.
When you see those who are moving faster than their shadows, do you also call them to?
Yeah, you tell them. You tell them, and some will tell you, no. I know. Okay, let me give you a big example. There was this guy, and all of a sudden I saw him with a big car. I saw him. Okay, what are you doing? My wife called him. What are you doing? I hope he's not fraudulent. He said, no.
Is the Lord doing?
2 years down the line, he was arrested, and he had to go to prison. So after he came back, he said, okay, but we asked you. He said, what would I have said? What would I have said? So there are people.
All right, let me go to Reverend Oyeni. One of the things that happened this year that is not really too palatable, maybe I call it a clutter that we have to get out of the way, is you see high rate of suicide, high rate of mental illness, high rate of depression. And in the papers this morning, one of the governors was saying that the psychiatric hospital is now has a big challenge of patronage. How can we get this clutter out of the way as we enter 2023?
Thank you very much. Well, I would say that in Nigerian society today, there are a lot of frustration. And there are so many things that can frustrate anybody. The economic factor is there. Our governments are not doing enough to provide an environment that is conducive for people to live well. We need a lot of government intervention in the life of people. People go into businesses and they are not prospering. Again, the environment actually is not conducive. To me, that's a major factor that is bringing a lot of depression in our society today. Our brother spoke about those people who are making it quick. We must also say that it's not also good to remain in poverty state forever. Yeah. And to me, that's one of the reasons why people are actually agitating. They want to get married, they cannot. They want to work, they cannot. They went to school, they came out very brilliantly in their studies, and yet they cannot get a good job. All these things can frustrate people. And of course, if people are no more thinking about God, what God can do for them, and maybe thinking about the fact that they want to do it by themselves, they will become frustrated, and then of course, depression will come in. Most of the things that cause depression are things of the heart, are things that people are thinking in their heart, the aspiration, the target they set, and they could not meet them. So I will say that to remove that from our mind is not possible. Everybody has aspiration. Everybody has timing. You want to say, I want to do this time and all that. I think we should also appeal to our government, one, to make sure that they provide good environment, and two, we should go back to the whole practice of being our brother's keepers. Sometimes we have abandoned ourselves, our brothers and sisters, a lot, to the extent that nobody is providing them counseling. And as ministers of God, we should be very sensitive to what our people are passing through. And that is why it is not a plus to have too many members in your church. That to me is not the point. The point is, how many of them are you actually getting to in terms of reaching them, in terms of counseling them, in terms of providing counseling, to meet their particular needs. So to me, that is the responsibility of a man of God. And I will say that we will live by this forever. And things will not be equal all the times. Some will make it early, some will make it late, like I said the other time. But we should also accept whatever condition that we find ourselves with the determination that we're going to get better in the future.
All right, Pastor Dayo, I would like to go to something that is kind of sensitive and I'm kind of passionate about. If you look at the course of this year, 2022, you discover that we had issues of female genital mutilation, we have issues of rape, we have issues of, and it now boils down to parenting. Where are the parents in 2022 that these things are happening? What have we done wrong, or what are we not doing at all that has made our society and made our children an endangered species, so to speak? You see them doing drugs, you see them so many things, malpractices.
One of the latest, just to add to him, you can read his question, is the one going around in the social media where a 16-year-old, to celebrate his birthday, painted herself naked. And of course, through that to the social media, 16-year-olds, people are asking, society,
where are we going?
Yeah, I think it's the society generally. A society that puts so much emphasis on affluence. One, then two, where the father and the mother are to also to really take care of the children, and so there is no one to stay back really. When in the olden days, the mothers are always staying back to ensure things are. But now, because of the prevailing economic circumstances, they both had to go. They both had to go out to ensure that the family is well taken care of. So that is where these things are. And it didn't just start now. What we are experiencing now started maybe a few years back. And if care is not taken, the way it's going to be in the future, it will be more chaotic than it is presently. So it's important we look into it as a society. It's important we look into it. For example, in my house, I told my children, I'm going to regulate this phone thing for you. Because every now and then, everybody's just looking down, carrying. I said, I'm going to regulate it. Because I even read that in China, they regulate the time for phone for their children. That's where they made this thing. So we that took all these things, we just allow. So there should be. So when there is no overexposure, then some of these things will begin to cut it down and all that. Then at the same time, the economic prevalent circumstances in the nation, and it's not only in Nigeria really, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Okay, before you, Pastor, I'd like to put the same question, but this dimension. When we were growing up, they used to say it takes a community to train a child. But things are now different now. Yes. If you beat my child, I can sue you to court. And there are some places, some schools, some states, you are not permitted to beat a child. You are actually damaging the child, so to speak, according to the law.
So you must spare the rod.
Spare the rod. And the Bible says, if you spare the rod, you spoil it. So how do we balance it? Do we go back to communal training of our children?
That is not even possible.
No, I think, I don't think we should blame parents only on this. There are some parents, they actually do their best. But to my mind, there are so many factors that are contending, that are contesting with parents in terms of training of our children. Look, the social media is a problem, whether we like it or not. The kind of exposure, like I was trying to say, the kind of exposure our children are having at a younger age now, is not what we were exposed to in those days. Then again, the governments in Nigeria today, I don't know, maybe in those days, the teachings of morals, you know, when you are in primary school, somebody will come and teach you morality, will tell you what to do, what is wrong, what is right. Are we doing the same thing? In most of our schools today, there is no more assembly. There is no more devotion in our assembly. All these things have effect on what our children will become in the future. Parents, yes, but even teachers, because when we give birth to our children at a particular point in time, we take care of them, and at a later stage they go to school. What kind of interaction do they have with their teachers and with their children as well? Then the social media also is a problem that is disturbing the progress of our children. So parents are maybe trying. Well, I tell you, there are some children that it is when they grow up a little that they mix up with society, like you said, and then things begin to go negative in their lives. So I would think that, like you said the other time, parents should do their responsibilities. Teachers also must do their responsibilities. The government must perform their responsibilities so that the society at large will be able to address situations like this. We must go back to some old things that are not bad.
Okay, we have identified social media as a big problem. When we are looking at the way to clearing the cluster ahead of the 2023, the strategies. I also want to ask both of you, starting from Pastor Dayo, the kind of challenge stakeholders have, especially parents, in this economic downturn thing. They have to look for what to eat first and what the children will eat. And of course, the kind of challenge those living in the society also have in planning for 2023, especially again, when you look at choosing the wrong role models. Most of us are close to, we watch Nollywood, for example. What you see in Nollywood is from instant village, you come to town, there is a big house, what do they try to teach? What kind of dress do they wear at any point in time? You see some of these actors, so to say, you know that even on screen, this is not the best way, and this is what people will look. Those who are in some kind of controversy or negative thing came out stronger, and if we even come out to sing about it, sex life will and people still see that they are striving, and these are their role models. This is the challenge in the society that we have, and we are also going to 2023. These are the people we see. At times you see their pictures, our actors, female actors, copying what they see abroad, going half naked and putting it on social media, blah, blah, blah. I mean, how do you see it? These are cumbersome of problems, so to say. And of course, people must, living within them, also want to see them as role models. Role models, how do you get out of this?
Yeah, one, from the parents' side, the parents need to do their job. And the job is this. Say, train up a child in the way he should go. When he's old, he will not depart from it. So that's the job. They need to start early.
So it's more challenging to be a parent now.
It is.
Than then, when we were young.
It is. It is.
Because if you don't look after the child, some people will look at the child for you.
And then government also, I think there should be regulations. There should be regulations. And this, we know these things. It's just that sometimes we just allow our belly to just override our mind. There should be regulations. We have regulations that at so age you cannot drive until a so age. There should be regulations into all this content coming on. So once those regulations are there, you won't even have, for example, there was a time they bound what's this social media? Twitter. And it didn't work. Even if you try to work it on your phone, it didn't work. So it's trying to tell us that these things are possible. There's a way they can streamline it so that even you don't have access to some certain sites. So there should be regulations. Government should wake up to the responsibility. There should be regulations so that they curtail some certain things. So even if you want to, something is not available for you to readily go into it. So
will you want to? Okay, go ahead.
And the last one is also I feel when I say regulation, also the age at which a child should enter into higher institution should. Some people, when they get there too early, because of their naive mind,
we have some 18-year-old in part 3.
Because of their naive mind, they are easily influenced into things. And these are things that Western world understand. In Western world, you can't enter into an institution until a certain age. But we even take pride that my son
at 16,
at
she's
14,
in part 2.
So I think there should be regulations.
Reverend, I want you to actually, let me put this straight to you. Our film industry, which is very popular and growing now, take everything together, the behavior of those who are involved and what they chunk out for you, has that industry helped the nation better or otherwise?
I think they do more havoc than good. In life, most of the things that have some little advantages we also go along with some major disadvantages. That's another problem. We identify social media, and it's connected. It is this technology thing. When your small child is holding expensive phone in their hands, and then you are watching what you are not supposed to watch as a small child, it's a problem. But I will go back to religious leaders. I will say that apart from the fact that government has to do regulations, I also think that teaching our children, not only from home, but even from pulpit, is very, very important. It is important for churches now to develop what I would call teenagers ministry or children ministry. In those days, there were some children ministries that they are very, very fundamental. They are the ones who will get them when they are young, and they, of course, begin to minister to them. The use of mentoring, the use of having, you spoke about having a wrong
role model.
Then church and mosques should come into knowing better how to hand over your child to a person who is going to be a role model as well, but who is going to mentor the child to grow in the way of the Lord. All these things will be very, very important. So as the parents do their own part, the government their part, and I think that the church also must come in very strongly to help our children to grow. What kind of teaching are we actually giving unto them? What type of, what are they seeing? Even in the church, what are they seeing? You go to church today, you see some people dressed in a way you think they are going to a party or something.
Or a club.
A club. So these are fundamental problems. So churches must rise up and be godly and represent Christ in the real sense of it. To me, that's exactly the way to go.
All right. Before we allow you go, I have two things I would like to ask, and I'll start with Pastor Dayo. First of all, this year, 2022, I personally observed the rate at which people slum. It was paramount, it was prominent in 2022. I know of someone personally, I'm not sure Akim too would know the person. I just slummed, and after some days in the hospital, died. Now, what is this a clutter we need to, especially addressing the health of people, each individual addressing their health status? What do we do 2023?
Yeah, please, everybody should pay attention to his health. It's important. The reason why you are aspiring is because you are alive. If the life is gone, there's nothing you can do. So most importantly, you must ensure that you are taking care of your health. You have good diet. You exercise well, sleep well. These are basic things, and which we don't need to flog. Of course, because of the society, the growth in the society, the demand of the society, some of these things we overlook sometimes. You can go from morning till evening, oh, I've not eaten anything today, like that. Then also the mind, where anything that steals your peace, no matter how good or how pleasant, if it steals your peace, just let it go. It doesn't want it. Because once the peace within is gone, one is like a walking corpse.
Still on this slide, I would like to talk about, for example, most churches that I know, by January, you start to fast, there's a wisdom to fasting.
Yeah.
But what are these wisdom, number one, and do you teach it from the pulpit so that you not fast and end up contacting an ailment that? Who are those that should fast? Who are those that shouldn't fast? What are the wisdom to fast? What do you break with? Those are the things that I don't know.
It's like some people live with fasting all through the year.
Well, there are excesses. And to me, that's one major, one of the excesses that the church, to me, is doing in this generation now. Fasting. Fasting is good. We have examples in the scriptures that we should fast. But it is not everybody and all situations you are fasting. If you don't have the good health to fast, for God's sake, you don't need to go into it. But to me, fasting is just a minute thing as it happens, this type of sudden death that we are talking about. There are many factors. Number one is the fact that people are poor. They are not eating good food. People don't have money to eat adequate food that will sustain them. Even those who are not fasting. But who are fasting not because they want to serve God. But because fasting,
they are not balanced enough to take balanced diets.
Exactly. There is no money. So economy must improve. That's number one. Then he spoke about exercise. He spoke about checking your health, because it's not about your health. But you see, even in checking your health, poverty is also a factor. I gathered my pastors in Ogun State, for example, some times ago. We were in a retreat, and I brought in a medical doctor to come and talk to us about how to make sure that we live in healthy situation. And then one suggested to them that we should do our checkup regularly. People are already more money. I say, where do we get money? And the man said, 25,000, 30,000, set apart in a year so that you can check your health. None of them, I say, 25,000. That is the kind of thing we are talking about. So the mental poverty is there as well. Lack of knowledge, lack of awareness is causing a lot of problems. But we should be sensitive to what can help us to live. Existentialism is...
Okay, we're ending up the program. I want to thank you very much. But before you go, just in one word, most of the things we have cited as examples here, especially when it comes to the youth of nowadays, society that we are, you men of God are telling us that these are signs of end time. So my question is, how do you survive in this society with vivid signs of end times? Pastor Dayo.
Jesus said, in this world, you will have tribulation. Say, be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. So just be on God's side. Be on God's side.
Yeah. Even in the church, in the mosque, there are also examples of signs of end times. So, your what?
Yeah. To me, satisfaction, contentment. I will ask our people to be contented with what God has done for them. There is life after life. And then we should be thinking more about heaven than what we will gain here on earth.
Thank you very much. That's how it's going to be. That is talking about the first segment of discussion part of the program, clearing the clutters ahead of 2023, the strategies, and we've had two wonderful men of God in house trying to look at this with us. I hope you have enjoyed all the strategies they actually pointed out for us to have a fruitful and fulfilling 2023. Pastor Adedayo Adefolahan the senior pastor of Kingsword here in Abeokuta. Thank you very much for coming. And of course, Reverend Oyewale Oyeni, thank you very much also for coming.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you. That's how it's going to be for now. We'll be back before you know it.